When I was a freshman, that's when all of the drama was going down with a certain administration that was ruling Senate, and me and my friends, Alexis actually, were just really about it, and we thought it was really interesting to go watch. There was security, and people were making speeches, and there were protests, and people were getting arrested, and it was just so crazy, and just the drama of it all. We just thought it was really funny, and so we would go and we watch it, and then I just got more involved, and one of my RAs freshman year got a bunch of us involved. He was a senator, and I ended up interning under SAC, kind of, because SAC wasn't really a thing under that administration as well as it is now. And then I just kind of came, there wasn't really an intern program during that time because the directors weren't really there, but I just kind of came and went as I pleased to meetings and stuff. And then I ended up getting on the SOS campaign at the end of my freshman year. So I didn't actually run for a position on SOS. I was just an intern volunteer, and I applied for a position and became a COC delegate on SEC. And then West Green senator position opened, and I took that one. And then when a new SAC position came open, I resigned from West Green, became a SAC senator in full, and then became the vice commissioner of West Green. That was my sophomore year. Junior year, I was just a senator for SAC, and then I ran with Greenlight and became treasurer. I knew I wanted to keep running after my freshman year. It was really fun sophomore year, and then I never thought I would actually run for an executive because I just, as soon as I heard of the debates and the speeches, I was like, I can't do that. That's not happening. And then, really, every time elections come around, people start talking about elections for the next year and for what they want to do. And so I remember there was kind of this thing between 5 or 6 people, we all need to figure out what we're doing together, and it just kind of went away. And then me and Nicole went to New York together over for ASGA with Courtney and Hannah. And we were just that Courtney and Hannah were just starting with their Unite campaign, and we were just really interested in all that kind of stuff. We were big parts of it. And when the time came around in the fall, things were starting to be talked about already, and then one of our friends, we were sitting at a table at the Senate retreat and said, the color, what color are you, orange, blue, green, and whatever. Landon and Haley and this other person, Logan, all were they said, made a comment about how we're each a different color, that's perfect. And me and Nicole were just I don't know, it just it clicked to us, and so me and Nicole made a pact that day that we were running together no matter who we got. And Nicole was fine with being president and vice president, and I was fine with being vice president or treasurer. She didn't want to be treasurer, I didn't want to be president, so we just had to find whatever position we found was going to set us. And we knew we wanted Landon, and so we made that offer to him, and he was kind of back and forth because he had plans with someone else. And then we heard from John one day in October. I was at the gym running on a treadmill, and Landon called me, and I answered, and he was like, all right, it's happening. And I was like, what? Another ticket was starting to pick up and get senators and stuff, and we were like, oh shit. And so he called Nicole, and right there we settled that on president, vice president, and treasurer. And then we called Haley and John and made our team, and that's how Greenlight came about. Science, and I honestly had no idea there were so many positions that you could apply for when after interning with SOS, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And one of my RAs at the time was like, you should apply for these ones. And so I've always really liked math, and that's just kind of why I went for it. And COC wasn't really my thing. It was not really doing applications and money. It was just kind of getting outreach for other orgs. So that was weird for me, but once I moved up, I really just loved every part about SAC, allocation of money. I love budgets. I really love Excel and all that kind of stuff, which is how you maintain it all and just making those decisions. And I don't know, it's just it's not my major. Everyone always assumes I'm accounting or finance or something, and I'm pre-med and pre-law. It's nothing at all, and I love it, but it's just not something I'd probably want to do with the rest of my life. It's very stressful, and I like it, but it's just it takes hours sometimes just to like balance one budget, and I have like 10 set up right now, so it's not something I'd always want to do, but like it's definitely an interest of mine. I love doing it for Senate and for OU, but I don't think I'd want to do it further after that. Definitely interesting. So, Charlotte and Eleanor are both COC chairs right now, and Charlotte was the commissioner my sophomore year, and Eleanor was her vice commissioner. And then last year, Eleanor was the commissioner, and Haley was vice commissioner, and now Haley's commissioner. And so I was never in that leadership area in SAC until this year. Because I wasn't VC, I was just a senator at that point, so I wasn't in part of like the money leadership team very much. But I definitely was one of the more involved and passionate senators under SAC, so I definitely like was part of a lot of the projects with like the money increase and stuff from last year. And it's definitely an interesting way to see. I think it's more hard on Haley's part with, or difficult with Charlotte and Eleanor, just because like sometimes they just, in SAC, it just doesn't seem like it's different, so you just kind of assume you're still in that leadership role when they're not so much, and now it's Haley. And so like in that area, I think it's more with her, but with me and Haley, I like technically I'm the leadership of all of SAC, Haley, everyone, but like it's more so of a partnership, so like I don't think there's a ton of difficulty with it because we all work together, and it's not like me just telling them what to do. Like I don't ever make a decision by myself, even though like I have that power to do so. I almost always ask Haley and Mac and Eleanor and Charlotte and Andrew. A lot of the things that I've done, and it's just what comes with the territory, is internal changes. So it's not like huge student-wide body things, but the whole. I was on budget committee for sophomore year, junior year, and was the chair partly this year, and I just never thought it worked well. And so I definitely had some pushback when I was trying to do it from Landon and John and Jacob Haskins and a bunch of other people, but when I like reformed it and changed it and made it just a 2-member thing, and I think from what I've seen, from what I've talked to the chair and vice chair, it's worked a lot better. So I'm really proud of that change. And last year when I worked on with Steve and Haley and Eleanor, we were the main 4 that did it, worked on the SAC increase for funding. And I don't know exactly when you came around, but it was really cool at the swearing in. Jason was telling everyone that obviously we didn't get an increase in money, but we were the only 2, SAC and Senate were the only 2 departments across the entire university that didn't take a cut because of that and our hard work and showing that like this is why we need it. And so that's something that we're working on this year, but it's a little bit different because we wanted to increase Senate's budget, increase SAC's, but obviously that's hard. There's not like money to going around. There's now, I think we're on the third year of a 7% increase, so 5%, 1%. Then next year is going to be 1 more percent to increase across all, or to decrease across all departments. So it's really interesting to try and find other ways. So we're looking at like going towards the colleges and seeing like, well, you have this money, you have allocating money, but why is that something that like that is something on you, and how does that work? And we give these orgs money, and you give them to, and all that kind of stuff. So we're looking at like taking over their allocation process. Same thing with club sports. And something that I'm really excited that I hopefully comes to fruition is Engage Ohio. And it's not really named yet. We got that from Engage Pitt, and it's basically a student org foundation where people can put money in for their old student orgs. So like right now the university is like most public universities, especially in Ohio, are moving towards private model funding because they're not getting anything else from the state, so they're looking at getting more donors. And mostly in like the higher up in like the VP of finance office, they're only really looking at 5,000 and up, but 90% of alumni are never going to be able to give $5,000 at once. And so especially they don't want to just throw, and a lot of people don't just like throwing money in. I mean like, oh, here's, I don't do whatever you want with it. And so this would be able to give them the opportunity to give $20, $10, $100 back to their student org for like certain events, and that would also take off the pressure of not having enough funding from SAC. So even if we did get that increase, then we could encourage student orgs to go poke at their alumni. So getting into Senate wasn't that difficult, except for freshman year was just kind of a weird thing. Like with everything going on, there wasn't really like a huge system or structure, so just kind of you doing what you wanted, and I didn't really know I wanted to continue to do that afterwards until I met Gabby Baca, who was the president of SOS and Senate my sophomore year, and she really got me involved and got me to be on the ticket with her as an intern. And so getting involved was a little bit rocky, and then staying involved, Senate, it comes right after academics. My job is after this, which you think, everyone says academics job, but like this is technically my job also now because I do get a tuition scholarship. So that's interesting and stuff, but this is like my number 2 priority. There's a lot to go in with it. So there's been times where I didn't know I wanted to stay in Senate, but I haven't really hit much difficulties. I'm not sure why, but every position I've wanted, every position I've ran for, I've been able to get. So I'm just one of those, lucky people that have gotten everything I wanted when it comes out of the Senate. I definitely want to see more relationship between the treasurer and the SAC commissioner. So nothing on the past people that held these positions, but no one between the commissioner of SAC and the treasurer never had a great relationship as far as I've been here, and so it was just kind of separate entities, and SAC was just kind of pulling away more so from Senate. But now me and Haley, I think, have done a great job as working together and pulling that back in and making those ties. So I definitely like to see that continue on, because I don't understand how the past treasurers and commissioners did it by themselves, because I've needed Haley, and I think she's needed I to do a lot of the things that we've had to do. And I would definitely want to see it grow. I would love to see funding grow and expanding SAC and different models. We're always changing things. I don't remember the quote, but someone said that one of the most dangerous things anyone can say is, well, we've always done it this way. And that's something you encounter a lot with people in Senate, especially ones that have been here a long time. They'll say oh, we've always done it this way, or why change it? And that's a problem, because it's not, don't fix what's not broken. Some things that aren't broken can still be improved. So I just definitely want to see SAC and Senate grow together more instead of growing apart like it's been. And then treasurer, I'm not sure where that could go, but I definitely want to see bigger things with it. And in the past, it's been kind of more of a silent back position. The past treasurers have just only done money things, and I've really tried to do both treasury and legislation and different things like that, and not just upgrading SAC, but upgrading Senate. That's why I'm on reform and did election reform. So definitely want to keep, hopefully the next treasurers will keep more involved and then just sitting in a corner with a calculator. Senate can do a lot for you, but it will do nothing unless you put something else into it. So what I mean by that is you can't just come in and expect, like a lot of people do, and just put this on the resume or expect that we're not going to be able to get anything done, because at times I've thought this is not going to happen, like the university, there's no funding, this is just not going to work. And then you see all these people doing all this great work. So I guess you just kind of have to stick it out. It's not the best thing in the world, but I don't really know. It's not it's not the best thing in the world, but it's definitely one of the best to be able to say that you tried to change things instead of just saying, well, it's not going to happen, so why are we going to try?